Hi. So, I have a question. What's the first thing you check before planning your day? Be honest. Is it your messages? Your outfit? Nah, it's the weather, right? Because whether you're planning an epic event or just braving another normal day, you gotta know what's coming. But wait, plot twist. What if you're traveling? Or hopping from city to city? And your phone's like, nah fam, here's the weather in your current spot only. Not helpful. That's why I made this weather app. Here's how it works. Step 1, type the name of any city in Metro Manila. Step 2, boom, real-time weather results. Step 3, you're ready to go. Rain or shine, this app's got your bag faster than you can say, where's my umbrella? So now, let me show you how I did it. Because actually, it's easy. And you can do it too! Before I even touch a single line of code, I did what any sane programmer would do. I made an algorithm. First thing that I did here is to install a module that will help me build the app. But first you may ask, what's a module? Well, a module in Python is a file containing reusable code such as functions, classes, or variables. This can be imported and reused into other programs using import. This is helpful especially in organizing your code, and it also helps in making your coding work a lot more easier. For this weather app, I will use the request module. Request module equals my personal messenger to the internet. It lets me send and receive data from websites and APIs, like check the weather. So, I open my command prompt and type pip install request. A few seconds later, installed! Let's now code the program. But first, let's roll a quick clip of me actually coding it. Okay, now let's break it down. I immediately imported request module. Why? Because I know I'll need this later. Typing it at the start means I can work smoothly. So earlier, I said you can type in any city in Metro Manila to check the weather, but here's the catch. I need to restrict the input so users don't type cities outside this region. But why? Because Metro Manila is the focus of my study, so we gotta stay in scope. So here's what I did. First, I made a list of cities within Metro Manila. Then, I created a while loop that keeps asking for a city until the user enters a valid one. I added the lower function here to handle all cases of the input. Now that we've set up the user input, let's move on to fetching the weather data. Let's break down this code step by step so you can see exactly how I made this weather fetching magic happen. First, I defined a function called fetchWeatherData. Next, I visited OpenWeatherMap to get the base URL of the site. Then, I hover over my account to get my API key. Instead of typing my API key directly, I stored it in a file for security purposes. Here, I pasted the base URL. Using with open, I opened and read my file containing the API key and stored it in a variable named API key. Next, I created a dictionary called weather parameters. This tells the API exactly what I want. Adding PH is super important because some cities share the same name worldwide. Imagine wanting the weather for Manila, Philippines, but getting results from Manila, Utah? No, not happening. Now comes the exciting part, fetching the weather data. I use request get to send my request to the API. This sends a request to the open weather map with the URL plus my parameters and stores the response in a variable. But what if something goes wrong? That's where the sign comes in. This checks if my request was successful or if there is an error encountered. Finally, if everything works, I return the weather data as JSON so I can easily access it later. If there's an error like no internet or an invalid request, my accept block catches it and prints an error message. This prevents my program from crashing and instead tells the user what went wrong. Alright, we're almost done. Now, let's move into displaying the weather data and making the app more user-friendly. Whoa, that was a lot. Since I'll be adding text colors later to the app, I created a dictionary here using ANSI color codes. After that, we're off to actual code for displaying the weather data. So first, I defined a function for displaying the weather data, so that when it's time to display the data, I will just call the function. This function takes in the weather data we fetch and makes sure it's not empty before we do anything. After that, I extracted the important details of the weather from the API response. Let's print them one by one. Instead of showing boring plain text, I added colors using the color codes to make it pop. Now, to actually display it in the app, we have to call the functions we defined. So after fetching the weather data, we immediately display it to the user. At this point, the user gets all the weather details they need: temperature, humidity, wind speed, and more. This is what the app looks like for now. Here, I added another while loop that asks the user if they want to input another city. If they want to, the main loop restarts, but if not, a thank you message will be displayed. And that's it! Our weather app is now fully interactive, user-friendly, and smart. Thank you so much for watching.